Chapter 19 on Wallace Ryder Farrington High School campus. Go through the PowerPoint and then take the Chapter 19 quiz.
Welcome to the introduction to Chapter 19. In order to keep Farrington campus safe, rules have been established relating to student misconduct. These rules also govern searches of students and seizures of property.
Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 19, come from state law. It's important that you know this information and are aware of the consequences of violating Chapter 19.
What is Chapter 19, you may be thinking? It sounds familiar. And what is the purpose of it? Well, Chapter 19 establishes and defines the student conduct that is not allowed on school campuses, transportation arranged by Department of Education, or during any school-sponsored activity on or off school property.
These rules also apply to anything students do on our campus during non-school hours. Chapter 19 helps us to maintain a safe and secure educational environment, to teach and acknowledge proper behavior, and to stop students from acts that interfere with their education. All public and public charter schools follow Chapter 19.
There are 4 types of Chapter 19 offenses: A, B, C, and D.
Let's start with Class A offenses. Class A offenses are patterned after state laws. Students who are found guilty of Class A offenses will not only receive school consequences, but may also face arrest and criminal prosecution.
Class A offenses include assault, burglary, possession or use of a dangerous instrument or substance.
The possession or use of dangerous weapons and the possession, sale, or use of drugs and/or paraphernalia is a Class A offense. Another Class A offense is extortion, when someone attempts to deprive another person of their property by use of threats. Other Class A offenses include fighting, the possession or use of firearms, homicide, the possession, use, or sale of illicit drugs, the possession, use, or sale of intoxicating substances such as alcohol.
There are 4 more Class A offenses: property damage or vandalism, robbery, sexual offenses, and terroristic threatening. One of the more common Class A offenses that we administrators deal with at Farrington is fighting.
Chapter 19 defines fighting as 1. Engaging in mutual physical contact involving anger or hostility. 2. Teasing, harassing, threatening, or intimidating others that results in physical contact involving anger or hostility. 3. Retaliating physically against another person for teasing, harassing, threatening, or intimidating behavior. Or 4. Physically supporting a fight by a person's presence and encouraging, videotaping, or posting.
As a review, Class A offenses are serious crimes that will be likely handled by the police department and will more than likely result in arrest and/or suspension from school. We strive for a safe and caring learning environment and hope that you will make the right choices by not committing Class A offenses.
There are other serious Chapter 19 infractions and consequences regarding dangerous instruments or weapons. Farrington High School has a zero-tolerance policy. This means that anyone found guilty of possessing such dangerous items faces up to a 92-day suspension and is subject to criminal prosecution. In other words, it is likely that you will be arrested and charged with a crime. If you are found with alcohol and/or illicit drugs, the same penalties which apply to dangerous instruments or weapons apply to your incident. You may face up to a 92-day suspension, and you will be subject to criminal prosecution. Any student who possesses a firearm will be dismissed from school for 1 year. That is a long time to reflect on your wrongdoing.
Like Class A offenses, Class B offenses are also criminal offenses. There are serious Class B offenses which include bullying and cyberbullying, disorderly conduct, false alarm, forgery, and gambling. Other Class B offenses include inappropriate or questionable usage of internet or equipment. You need to use your computer appropriately, especially if you're using a school loan Chromebook or any other school loan items.
Some Class B offenses we often deal with are bullying and cyberbullying. Bullying is defined as any written, verbal, graphic, or physical act that a student or group of students exhibits toward other particular students, and the behavior causes mental or physical harm to the other students. Bullying is unacceptable since it creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment for other students. Cyberbullying occurs when you commit an electronically transmitted act toward another student or employee of the department which causes mental or physical harm to someone else and is sufficiently severe, persistent, or pervasive that it creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment. Whether it be on campus or off campus, using school equipment or your own device, while on a school-related activity or event, cyberbullying is unacceptable.
For review, Class B offenses include bullying, cyberbullying, disorderly conduct, false alarm, forgery, gambling, harassment, hazing, and inappropriate or questionable uses of internet materials or equipment, theft, and trespassing.
Yeah. Class C offenses are referred to as violations of Department of Education rules. Violators will be disciplined using school consequences. For example, serving detention and/or suspension. C offenses are abusive language, class cutting, insubordination, possession or use of laser pointers or pens, leaving campus without consent, smoking, and truancy. Abusive language is a Class C offense. Abusive language is defined as a verbal message that uses words in an inappropriate way that may include, but is not limited to, swearing, name-calling, or profanity. Truancy means a student is absent from classes or school campus without authorization from the principal. Make the decision to attend to all classes, check in, and be accounted for attendance and active participation.
Last but not least are the Class D offenses: possession of contraband materials, defiance or disrespect, disruption, dress code violation, inappropriate language or physical contact, property misuse, tardiness, and other school rules.
Using e-cigs or vaping is a Class D offense. The possession and/or use of electronic cigarettes or e-cigarettes is a contraband offense. Consequently, a student in violation of this offense is subject to the disciplinary actions under the provisions of this chapter. Whether you're caught with, in possession of, or using an e-cig, as a consequence, your parents or guardian will be notified and you will serve detention. The second offense is tougher, and down the line, you may end up being suspended.
Another Class D offense is dress code. Dress code is a set of rules that show appropriate clothing to wear to school. When choosing your school attire, here is what not to choose to wear. You should not choose tops that show or expose cleavage. Do not wear sweaters, shirts, or skirts that are sheer or see-through. Do not wear short shorts. Skirts should be no shorter than the wearer's fingertips. And underwear should not be used as outerwear.
Additional dress code offenses. Do not wear clothing or masks with bandana material or ones that promote drugs or alcohol. This is not allowed.
Do not choose to wear clothing with sexually explicit, drug-related, or violent graphics and text. Pictures or photos of scantily dressed women or men, or clothing showing knives and guns. They are not allowed.
Lastly, saggy pants and sleep attire such as pajamas are not allowed. Be aware of these rules when attending school, even virtually.
Here's a review of the Class D offenses. Possession of contraband materials, defiance or disrespect, disruption, dress code violation, inappropriate language or physical contact, property misuse, tardiness, and other school rules that may apply to COVID.
It's always been a school rule to attend class on time. This year, it's essential that you go to your enrolled class during your assigned period on your schedule. Make sure you check in with your teacher for attendance or by the attendance form online that your teacher is taking. If you are absent, have your parents call in your absence to 305-5001 or have your parents let each teacher know of your absence within a day. Otherwise, you will be marked with an unexcused absence. Disruption. While working virtually, place yourself in a quiet area free from people passing behind you and distracting you or others. We don't need to see your brother making faces or sister waking up telling you to pick up your clothes. This is distracting. Don't forget to be dressed as you would for school while working online. All rules apply as they would if you were in the classroom. Disrespect. Working online is a new way of learning. Be respectful to others and use the chat box appropriately. The chat should be school related. Do not hold signs or make inappropriate body language to disrespect others with inappropriate comments and foul language. Other school rules for this year is to wear a mask to school and distance yourself from others while on campus.
There are consequences when you break Chapter 19. We want you to make good decisions and choices. Knowing the consequences for the various offenses will help you to make wise choices and think first. Ask yourself, who can control what I do? Repeat after me. I can control what my behavior is. I can make the right decision. I will live with aloha. I will do it the Farrington way. You decide what actions to take while attending Farrington High School. What kind of student do you want to be?
Thank you for watching this presentation. This concludes the Chapter 19 PowerPoint. Please open the second part of the Chapter 19 presentation from your advisory teacher.